When you're at home and you're away from all this, how do you sort of find yourself things to do to relax away from all this?
Oh, I just sort of sit around and play records and watch TV, or we go out to a club or for dinner or to friends. I just do what everybody else does, you know. I don't have anything super special to do.
Is there any, looking towards the future, for your little boy, is there anything that you'd like him to really especially do in life?
Not at the moment, you know. He's too young, really, to, you know, and I don't want to plan his life anyway. I want him to do what he wants, you know. I'm not going to say, you do that, or you will be this, you know. If he's going to be this, he'll be it, you know.
In other words, you like him to be just like any other young...
Yeah, you know, but that's one of the difficulties, you know.
How old is Zach now?
He's 11 months nearly.
11 months. A bonny lad, huh?
Oh, he's a big fatso.
Is he really?
Yeah.
And how's, for instance, Maureen, is she a good cook?
Yeah, I think lamb and chicken are her best.
Lamb and chicken?
Yeah, she's pretty good on the lamb.
What's your favourite dish?
Lamb.
Lamb?
In meat, you know.
Where are you living in England now?
In Weybridge.
In Weybridge?
Yeah.
Where John also is, right?
Yeah, just about 5 minutes from John, yeah.
That's where I'm from, Surrey.
Yeah.
Surbiton, Surrey.
Surbiton, yeah. My gardener's from Surbiton.
Oh, really? He does all the gardening?
Yes, he just keeps the flowers going. I like flowers and trees, you know, and things like that.
How did you...
Nature.
How did you find yesterday, did you see the little incident when we had the bus stop for about 10 minutes outside the motel when Paul and George got out?
Yeah. What do you mean, did I see it? What happened?
The two little girls that came over.
No, we sat on the back of the bus and Wendy, Brian's secretary, went and got us ice cream.
Well, the two little girls, were the most surprised in the world to walk by the bus.
Yeah.
One of them just completely stopped and fell over when she saw Paul McCartney there.
Yeah.
So, and of course, when she tells anyone about this, they'll never believe it.
Never believe it. No, that's what we think. That I was driving home from town with Maureen one day, and this fellow was chasing us for miles, you know. I didn't notice him till we stopped at some lights, and he pulled up and leapt out the car, and he says, "Paul, give me your autograph." I said, "Oh, yeah, okay, yeah." And then he says to Maureen, "Patty, it's good to see you." So it was, you know, it was hilarious. He just got it wrong altogether. But, you know, a lot of funny things like that.
Yes, it must happen to you a million times.
Yeah.
About your last record here, the single, of course, Yellow Submarine and Eleanor Rigby. Actually, is this record made for two sort of ages of people, young element?
Well, it was made originally just for the LP, but then Brian and our recording manager and people like that were talking to us and saying they thought that Yellow Submarine was commercial and they wanted to release it as a single. And it's the first time we've ever released anything off an LP as a single. So we did, you know, and all it is a children's song. It's not deep, it's not anything, you know, it's just a children's song, you know.
How do you feel about the last LP, Revolver, though? Do you think this
I think it's the best we've made.
George, when I left you, or when you left us last year in San Francisco, in that little trailer, if you remember, you were a happy, carefree bachelor, and in that year, you have become a happy married man.
Happy, carefree man.
May we congratulate you?
Thanks.
Are you adjusting, or are you?
Oh, yeah.
Slow? Was it a
much.
quick transition, or?
Yeah, I think, you know, I accepted it straight away because I've been looking forward to it for a while. No matter how close you are to a person, then you're not you can't really complete it until you're married. Because, I mean, let's face it, marriage is only writing on a bit of paper.
Exactly.
And it's nothing, you know, deeper than that.
Suddenly you've got to stop thinking about George Harrison all by himself now, right? From that day on, when that marriage began, you've got to think about the George Harrison family. Does this change your perspective? Do you think more about going into something new? Are you more careful about things now than you were?
Not really. In fact, I'm more confident in myself as a person to what I was last year.
Paul, I noticed something last night. It was the first concert I'd ever seen, and of course I saw them all on the last year tour. where I was right in front of the stage where it was set up in Detroit, and I guess I was about 15 feet from you guys.
Yeah.
And I'd never seen before the looks, you and John, especially when you sing on one microphone, like looking at each other and laughing out of the corner of your eyes and just having fun. Now, you're not doing that for the benefit of the audience because only the first couple of rows can see that. Is it really that much fun every time?
Oh, well, the thing is, you know, I mean, probably things like that. If something goes wrong, say, you know, if somebody hits a bum note, well, we can either just suddenly panic or try and treat it as a bit of fun, you know. And that's normally what happens. We were just laughing about some mistake that we made.
Like?
Well, I don't know, yesterday was pretty foul yesterday. I don't know, John made some mistake at the end of it, and it put me off, so I made a mistake, and it was just...
He played a different melody. Who played that, George? He's
I think he's getting too way out, that Lennon guy.
Ad-libbing,
way out.
jazz improvising.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think he'd be sort of topping the jazz guitarists next year.
How about country and western music? I know you're a fan of Buck Owens.
George Jones. I'm well, most country and western singers, you know.
What does country and western music say to you?
Well, no, I like it because all the numbers have a story, you know, and I love stories. And there's, you know, there's always well, 90%, you know, in all country numbers, there's a story. You know, what 50% all my girl's gone away, but I'm gonna laugh anyway, and, you know, or don't leave me, or I'll cry, you know. That's about all the stories.
How about Hank Williams?
Well, he was great, you know. I love him too. I like, I think I like a lot of the modern ones, though, mainly, you know, like the Buck Owens, George Jones, and Kitty Wells, and people like that, you know.
If you had your way, would you sing strictly, if you were a single, for example, as a vocalist, would you sing strictly country and western?
No, I don't think so.
What would you do, about the same kind of thing?
Well, if I was just, you know, a singer on my own, I'd like to put everything in, you know, sort of, not that I ever could sing a ballad, but I'd like to try it, you know, and just rock and roll and country and western.
Ringo, have you lost weight since last year? You seem slighter to me for some reason.
I don't think so. I usually stay around about the same weight all the time, you know, 9 stone to 9 stone 6.
9 stones.
You work that out.
What is the stone?
14 pounds.
There's no point in coming if nobody comes to see you, really. And it's just nice to be capacity. We don't really mind if it's sort of 80%, you know. As long as there's a good, you know, it was worthwhile visiting the town, enough people wanted to see us for us to come.
Tonight it's going to look like an empty house because there are 80...
Big stadiums, is it, with sort of 20,000 in a corner, and there's room for 190 million, is it?
Exactly. It's held 80,000.
Yeah.
And I believe the crowd is close to 30.
Oh, that's all. That's fine, you know. I mean, people say, oh, half the seats are empty, but, you know, try sticking somebody else in and see how many seats go. Well, that's what I say.
Compare for me European audiences with American. You just and Asian audiences. Was it your first tour to the Far East, the recent one?
Yeah, we'd been to Hong Kong, I think, played there on the way to Australia a few years ago. But the tour of the Far East, Japan and everywhere, was the first proper tour. It was great, too.
What are they like? Is the screaming the same?
Yeah, it sounds just a little bit higher pitched, or sort of just a bit different, you know. They just got to scream a little bit different. They sort of go like that, and they clap and that. You know, so they clap a lot.
Is it true that the audiences on the continent are composed of more boys than girls?
Yeah, usually there's a good percent of males in the audience, because they like rock and roll. But somebody was pointing out, somebody that's been with us on all our American tours, there's more and more boys in the audience now in our American audiences than ever there was, and we've noticed it too.
All righty, we are taking our goodbye picture here in
Well,
Ohio.
Believe in you. Goodbye.
We'll meet again. I don't know where.